In the early 1990s, lead and toxic shot was banned from waterfowl hunting. Since then, the standard of waterfowl shot has been steel, but there are a few replacements such as bismuth and tungsten that we are going to be testing today to prove what is the best non-toxic shot for waterfowl.
Dude, that beats the garbage out of you, holy cow.
Landon here is a waterfowl hunting addict, and he is my expert on how to kill ducks and geese. He will be able to explain to us the ins and outs of shot placement with a shotgun.
In the face.
The first shot we're going to be talking about is the standard. It is steel. Now, there's a few downsides to steel. Even though it's readily available, it's cheap to shoot comparatively to the others, not as cheap as lead. It is a lot lighter than lead, so it doesn't carry its killing power out to extreme ranges like lead does. Extreme meaning 60 yards. To start out with, lead is about 707 pounds per cubic foot, where steel is about 490 pounds per cubic foot. Okay, we're gonna start out with steel, which is also the cheapest of the non-toxic loads. So there's a few different things that are good about steel, and there's a few things that are bad about steel. One of the reasons that it is so good is its availability. You can find it pretty much anywhere. In just a minute, we're gonna talk about some of the bad things and some more of the good things. Landon, take it away.
This is just a standard steel shot. It's $21.99 a box of 25. So fairly cheap when we're comparing to other shots. We're gonna send it down and see what it does.
Well, the pattern is large, very, very large pattern. No wonder ducks can sneak through that. Let's see how many boxes it went through. 1, 2, 3 left, 4 left. So that means it went through 14 layers of cardboard and stopped. So you can see that that pattern's pretty large. We're using 4 shot, is that right, Landon?
Yep.
So we're not necessarily just talking about shot. We understand that there's going to be some discrepancies and it's not going to be true because we're using different shot size and things like that. But what we want to do is talk a little bit about which one, how much they weigh, and base that around the penetration and what it should be. So steel is lighter than lead. Lead, to start out with lead, is about 707 pounds per cubic foot. For those of you who are communists and like communist units of measurement, we're going to put that in the bottom for you. Steel is only about 490 pounds per cubic foot of metal. So it's a lot lighter, almost 33% lighter than lead. So it doesn't have the same lethality out to range. Another thing about steel is that it is a little bit more expensive to make than lead. It's also a lot harder than lead. So you can't shoot steel through the older shotguns. It's going to blow your barrel up if you do that. But these newer shotguns have no problem shooting those harder metals. Let's move on to bismuth and see how much penetration we get.
Let's do it.
Next up is the bismuth. Those of you who are around, those old timers that were around when the lead ban was just coming out into effect, bismuth kind of sucked back then because bismuth is actually pretty soft metal, but it's really brittle. So it'll break really easily and it would just fly apart in the air and upon bones. So like feathers even could break it if they were a ways away or it hit something hard. Anymore, they usually will mix it with something else, usually tin, to make it a little bit more malleable so it doesn't just shatter upon impact because it's so brittle. Now, bismuth is more expensive. This one in particular is $68.99 per box of 25. That comes to $2.76 per round. Significantly more expensive than the steel shot that we had. It was only 88 cents a round. So let's send it down range and then we're gonna talk a little bit more. Woo! That was fun. I like this gun. That is less recoil than my shotgun and it's lighter. Oh, there's the wad.
There is the wad.
You got a big old wad right here. It actually went through less boxes. So bismuth is a little bit heavier than steel, but it's still lighter than lead. Bismuth is about 610 pounds per cubic foot. And so it's a little bit lighter, a little bit heavier. It went through 15 boxes on this one. This is 5 shot, so it's a little bit smaller shot than the steel we just shot, but it should be actually slightly heavier than the steel. You can see the pattern's pretty good, but man, bismuth is good, but it's not great. It's not that much better than steel in my opinion, The one good thing about bismuth is that it's a more malleable metal. It's softer, so you can shoot it through the older shotguns safely. Some people don't like it because it's brittle, so they say when you shoot it through the older shotguns, it tends to kind of fly all over the place, kind of weird. But I haven't found that. We've shot all kinds of ducks and geese in the last little bit with it, and it seemed to work fine. Let's get on to the tungsten. Tungsten is probably the one that if it was affordable anyway, I would use the most because it's actually heavier than lead.
You got here.
Okay, so after further review, we took the wad that had gone through the boxes out, and you can see right there, look at all those bismuth rounds. You can see that they're all kind of cracked and broken. That's pretty typical of bismuth, and that's why people don't actually like bismuth sometimes. Also, there was like 30 or 40 pellets that stayed in the wad while it was traveling. That's not really good in my opinion. That's could be the difference between killing your duck and not.
Absolutely.
So let's try this tungsten and see if it performs any better. That's kind of cool. Okay, last but not least is tungsten. Tungsten is extremely dense and extremely heavy. It almost weighs as much as gold when they have it in the tungsten alloys that they shoot through shotgun shells. It is extremely hard, and it has the highest melting point of any known element. Not just metal, element. So that's pretty cool. So tungsten weighs 1,200 pounds per cubic foot. For those of you who are communists, we will put that measurement down below so you understand what we're talking about here, that you understand Americanese. Tungsten is harder than steel and titanium, which is also very cool. So something that's cool about tungsten is you can shoot a lot more shot because you can use like 9-shot and it weighs the same as 5-shot lead. So you're looking almost 60 to 70% heavier than lead. That is a whole lot, which makes it so you can shoot a little bit smaller BB and still carry that killing force out to longer ranges. So, and it also makes it so you have a better spread of BBs, makes it easier to kill those ducks or geese or whatever you're shooting at. Okay, Landon, take it away.
So this is a tungsten round. The only downside to tungsten is for a box of 10 shells, it is $59.99. That's $5.99 a shot. So this better be worth it. Dude, that beats the garbage out of you. Holy cow. Oh man.
Garbage. Oh my gosh, look at the holes it put in that thing. Is that 2-shot? So this is tungsten 2-shot, and there's not nearly as big of a spread. There's not nearly as many BBs in there, but look how much force. It ripped the paint off of that target a lot more than the ones previous to this one did. Yeah. Did it go through the, oh wow, okay. So this is the only shot we've had that has gone through how many boxes, Griff? 20 boxes. So all the other ones stopped at, the steel went through 14, the bismuth went through 15, and this one went through 20. I kind of want to shoot one more and see how many it'll go through.
Let's do it.
Let's shoot one more and see how many boxes this tungsten will go through. So the most expensive tungsten is the tungsten alloy. It's tungsten TSS Federal, and sometimes it costs as much as $13.50 per shot.
That's insane.
I don't know about you, as much as that is awesome, I don't think I'm going to spend $13.50 to go duck hunting.
Once in my life.
Yeah, we'll go once just to show you guys, but yeah, so let's get into this next port. Let's shoot again.
That's good. Holy crap. It hurts. So 20 boxes was not enough, so we just added a bunch more. We're gonna try it again. Hopefully we stop it.
Dude, that thing
Let's go see what it did.
That thing wallops you.
Yeah, I hope it stopped it.
You hope it stopped it? If not, we may be using tungsten a lot more.
Oh my God.
Some of the BBs went through.
That is insane.
That is crazy. So that means that it is going through about of cardboard.
Boxes.
32 boxes of cardboard, which is what, 35 or 40%, 35% more boxes than what bismuth and steel can go through. So the tungsten is by far the winner, but like you said before, it is extremely expensive. There is one alternative that is called a stacked load. So you get some tungsten and some steel. It's a little bit cheaper. It's fairly new to the market within the last, what, 5 years probably?
Yeah.
So let's shoot one of those stacked loads. Let's go. We are running out of boxes, but we're gonna put a new box at 20 to see if this will go through 20, and then we're gonna put one at the very back to see if it will go through 32. But this is the stacked loads. This is Migra. Very nice. It is 2-shot and 5-shot. So you got 2-shot steel BBs and 5-shot tungsten BBs in there. So that's kind of a good mix. We're gonna center down the range. It's going 1,450 feet per second. The best thing about this is these stacked loads are pretty affordable comparatively to Bismuth and the other tungsten rounds. It's $44.99 per 25 shells at $1.80 per shot. So that's cheaper than Bismuth and tungsten. Not quite as cheap. Well, it's $1 more than the steel loads, but oh my gosh, that wallops you. Okay, let's go check. That is, you can see the spread on that is pretty intense. Okay, so the pattern on that is very impressive.
I like it a lot.
That is a lot of BBs in there. So we had 15 boxes and then a fresh box so that we could see how many boxes that tungsten's going through. 17, 18. Okay, it ended on the 20th box. So that is pretty dang impressive. You get a good spread. Look at that front spread right there. You get a really good spread of BBs. You get the 2-shot steel, the 5-shots tungsten. It's fairly affordable. Honestly, if I was gonna go with a more expensive load, I'd probably go with the stacked loads just because of their affordability. And it seems like they're doing really, really well as far as penetration, and you got some BBs that are gonna carry that killing power out to further ranges. You know, I would say, like Landon, you can tell me wrong because you're a much more experienced duck hunter than me, but like 25, 30 yards is like a good range for duck killing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
What would you consider like a really far range for ducks?
Probably like 60, 70 yards. You know, if they're really far out there flying, not really coming to decoys, 60, 70.
Okay, so what we need to do now is we have some very special redneck ballistics gel that we are going to put out at 60 or 70 yards.
Let's do it.
And we're going to shoot them with a few different loads. Let's do this thing. How far is that? That's a long freaking ways.
Okay, now we're a really long ways away. We're just gonna test out on some magical pumpkins. See which metal does the best. Steel shot, we're gonna send it.
Now remember that this is highly scientific. All the variables have been accounted for. These pumpkins are exactly the same viscosity. This is extremely dialed. You got it a couple of times. I see 2 or 3 BBs on there. Is there one in the head? That's the head of the duck right there. Is there one in it?
Oh yeah.
Is there?
I don't know.
I think it's a dead duck though. You got it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. It's like the 6 or 7 times actually. It's like the size of a scop, yeah?
Widgeon.
Widgeon? I'd like a widgeon more anyway. So, it did not go through the pumpkin though. None of them went through the pumpkin.
No.
Let's get another pumpkin and test out the next load, shall we? What is it, 70 yards?
60.
60 yards, let's do it. Next we have the Bismuth. I am about to dump $2.70 downrange at a 10-cent pumpkin, all for you. Wow! That recoils a whole lot. Okay, let's go check. I snowman the pumpkin.
I hope the Bismuth carried better.
I sure hope so too. Okay, I hit it a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in there. Let's see if it went through. None of them carried through our very scientific pumpkin. This means that we have to move to the tungsten, which I'm not looking forward to shooting on a one-shot shotgun because it hurts a whole lot more. Let's do this though. Next up is the tungsten. Very scientific pumpkin downrange, and this is actually a tungsten alloy. Usually tungsten alloys are made up of tungsten, nickel, and iron. it makes them very heavy, very, very heavy and very efficient, as we've seen here. Oh boy, is it gonna hurt? That wasn't as bad as the bismuth, actually. But let's go see if it went through the pumpkin. Significantly more damage. This is 2-shot tungsten, so it's carrying pretty hard. And it definitely did a number on that pumpkin. Did it go through? It did.
Look at that.
1 BB went through the fattest pumpkin we have. Because it was slightly less viscosity, we had to have it be a little bit wider. We wanted it to be very consistent, you know. But as you guys can see, the tungsten is probably the best load. Let's shoot this stacked one and see if we can get some affordable goodness of range and other such scientific terms.
All right, now we're gonna try the stack load. Best of 2 worlds, heavy and cheap. Let's send her.
That walloped ya.
Yeah.
We do.
Hopefully got it.
Ooh,
Oh, I got her good.
you got it real good.
Look at that.
Did it go through though? I do not see any penetration. Oh, there's one. One went through.
60 yards, the stacked load did great. The best pattern we've had. And one of them, one whole BB made it through.
Yes, so we have good patterning and we have good penetration and good energy being carried down range.
Oh, absolutely, and it's affordable.
Yeah, and it's pretty affordable. So if I was gonna buy some shotgun shells, I would probably go with those stacked loads. To end, we are going to blow up these beautiful pumpkins, but as always, trust the process, be a man, learn to hunt.